Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and in this video, we are going to be having a look at something that could be referred to as the CanJam, the canned ham, or a Can-Am. Now, this is a fully console-friendly variant of course, a Can-Am side-by-side, a well-known turbo 4-seat Can-Am side-by-side. Now, this vehicle you guys may have seen recently in the video that I did about the R&R 5500, or you may have also seen it in a recent live stream. Now, a lot of you guys wanted to get a more in-depth look at this vehicle specifically, which is why I've brought it out here to the summer testing grounds, and we're going to run it through a test circuit, and I'm also going to walk you guys through the entire customization options list in detail. Now, as you can assume, this thing is fully console friendly. It has the necessary console files and console coding there, and in order for it to make its way onto consoles, basically it needs to pass the developer testing and approval process. Now, as of the time of recording this video, it has not yet passed, but I'm sure that later on down the road, it should have no issues passing, as we've seen with some of the R&R team's previous mods. So let's go ahead and fire it up, take it into the garage, and see what it's all about. Fires right up, actually. Super quick startup. Really nice interior as well. Really dig the interior. The dash, the wheel, the seats. Everything really looks like it's in the right place and looks like it belongs there. So into the garage we go, straight into the customization. Now, engine-wise, we have the Jotax Base, the Jotax Turbo, and the Jotax Twin Turbo. Now, these are all S+, except for the base one. The base one is an A+, although the base one is still enough to have plenty of fun. Don't, make no mistake about that. The base one is still plenty to have fun, but I would recommend either the single turbo or even the twin turbo. So we're going to do the twin turbo engine, and then gearbox-wise, you have one option, the QRS-X CVT transmission, which is basically a 3-speed automatic with your low ranges plus a high range. It's a little bit odd, but that's what it is. Now, in terms of suspension, you have your standard one and you have the lift kit. I like to go with the lift kit because basically what it does is it just extends the resting height of the suspension a little bit, and it also allows for a little bit more wheel travel when you're trying to go down a trail or maybe when you're running through a high-speed dirt section. So we're going to go ahead and equip that. Now, in terms of tires, you have 33-inch Rizky's Duratrack. You have the generic UTV Tire 1 and generic UTV Tire 2, and then you have that entire same lineup in 35s as opposed to 33s. I recommend 35-inch generic UTV Tire 2 on the lifted suspension. That seems to be the combination that has worked really well for me personally, but I also recommend experimenting with the different combinations to see what works for your personal playstyle. Now, moving on to the winch, you have one option, that's a battery-powered winch. Really not much to dive into there. Now, in terms of the visuals, you have two different rooftop options. You have a body color rooftop, a black rooftop, and then, of course, no rooftop. I'm going to go with body color rooftop for this video, but once again, that is completely up to your personal taste and preferences on what route you decide to go with there. And sometimes I even find myself running no roof, sometimes I run the roof, sometimes I run it in body color, sometimes I run it in black. It all depends on kind of what I'm feeling that day. Now, in terms of the wheels, you have the choice of a white beadlock ring with black wheels or a black beadlock ring with black wheels. I'm going to go with the black beadlock ring. I kind of prefer the look of it. And at that point, you can really pair it with any color that you decide on. And the nice thing about the color is the colors that you see on the left-hand side of the screen are directly represented as what you would see on the vehicle. Now, you might say, well, of course they are. But there are some vehicles where the colors as they appear in the menu are not directly reflected on the vehicle. And that can be a little bit frustrating at times because you may find a color that you really like, but it doesn't translate over to the vehicle all the time. Now, with this thing, once again, it does translate over, and I'm really happy that it does. Now, once you go down a little bit, there seem to be a few issues with these color options. I'm not sure what's going on with those. I can't seem to find where they show up on the vehicle because as I pan around the vehicle, you don't really see any colors showing up. However, that may be something that will get updated later on down the road, and if it has been updated since filming this video, then it's been updated. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and probably paint this thing red. I really like this thing in red, and I know there's going to be at least like one or two people in the comments that are going to be like, aha, you paint everything red. And I'm like, because it looks good. Now, granted, I don't paint everything red, but this thing, I don't always paint it red. But when I do... Now, it does look really good, though. I really dig the way it looks. Now, interior customization-wise, you don't really have anything right now. I would like to see maybe beans on the dash in the future, but even at the moment, it's still great. But I will tell you, it looks like there would be a place that you could easily put beans, like right there in the middle on top of the dash. That would be a really cool place to put them, actually. Now, let's go ahead and fire this thing up and see what it's like to drive. Now, once again, those of you that have seen this thing on my live streams will already have kind of an idea of how it drives, but we have yet to run it through a full-on testing circuit. So, no trailers available, which makes sense. I mean, this is really through and through a scouting dedicated vehicle. I mean, if you're using this in the campaign mode, you're using it to scout. And if you're using it in, you know, multiplayer, or you're using it on mod maps, you're using it to go down trails, or to go in the mud, or to have some fun, like, RP adventures with your friends. Now, if you're going to be driving it fast, like on a racetrack or through the mud or something, I just recommend running it in high. It's not the fastest in high gear, but it is very manageable. It's a lot of fun to drive, and it really does a great job of being a nice balanced speed to go down the trails without getting too crazy. I say that as I slide all over the place, but don't worry about that. It's fine. Now, we're going to go ahead and make a quick left real quick and head right up the side. That was, by the way, half throttle. Did that for the sake of control. And we're just going to bounce our way through these rocks. Whoa! These rock obstacles. Now, up into low plus, half throttle, doing a little bit of rock crawling. It will get hung up on the underside of the vehicle because it's just very, very long in terms of a wheelbase. I mean, even for a side-by-side, it is quite long. So when you are taking it down like technical trails or some rock crawling trails, I would definitely recommend continuing to be aware of the fact that the wheelbase is pretty long. But as you can see, rock traction-wise, it's completely fine. I mean, there are going to be a couple of areas where you're going to have to figure out, you know, where the footing is preferred for it. But, I mean, that's going to be, you know, a little bit of a battle with any vehicle in this game when it comes to rock grip. So it does do a really good job, in my opinion, of climbing up that rock face. And now we're going to go ahead and take it down the other side of the hill, take it into the mud, and see how it does there. Now, in my opinion, the mud is where this thing really shines, and obviously there's a limit to how far you can take it in mud, but really there's a limit to how far you can take almost anything in this game in mud, unless it's been built by limes, which in that case, they just kind of rampage through everything. But this thing is great in shallow mud and medium mud. In deep mud, you will start to get a little bit of bogging down, but that's completely 100%, you know, to be expected, and it's actually quite realistic. So it does really well through that medium mud, and when you get into the deeper stuff, it does slow down a little bit. But as you can see, I mean, it's still really, really doing a great job of pulling itself along through the mud. I mean, it is really, really digging and digging deep. Ow! That was not what I wanted to do. Let's see how it does in the really deep stuff. I mean, this is some sketchy mud out here. It's digging a lot and high. Let's put it in low plus. I mean, the speed didn't really change much. It just picked up a little bit more grip. So the mud, as you can see, it gets a little bit deeper the further you get to the big pond. But once again, I mean, it really, really does a great job. For a vehicle that's only on 35s, I mean, there are things with 42s that'll get stuck in there. And I know that it's not completely down to the tire size. It's a lot of it is down to the programming of the tire, the weight of the vehicle, the friction of the tires, all that stuff plays a role. But with this thing, I mean, great performance, especially considering the tire size. Now, the dips obstacle, I mean, I'm sure this thing is going to absolutely eat it up, but I've never actually taken it there before. And before I do that, we're going to do a small jump in it down this little lumber line. I guess you would call it a lumber line. I'm not even sure. So let's do it. Let's throw it in high. That way we can kind of maintain a little bit of pace. Wow, I didn't even leave the ground. I was hoping there would be a little bit of a jump there, but there was nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort whatsoever. All right, let's make our way up. Oh, there we go. But as you can see, it's not picking up any damage at all, and that's huge, because in campaign mode, you don't want to have to worry about whether or not you're going to need to repair this thing all the time, and you also don't want to lug around a bunch of repair parts with you, and the amount of travel that this suspension has really does prevent you from running into those classic suspension damage issues that really do plague a lot of vehicles in this game. Now, right off the bat, it does a great job at crawling through here diagonally, but what would happen if you took these straight on? Would it get high-centered? Let's find out. It does a little bit. It definitely does a little bit, but at the same time, it's also able to still negotiate its way out of it, although I would still personally recommend tackling these diagonally, and it really does have an awesome amount of steering angle, and you can really use that to your advantage in sections like this, especially in campaign maps or modded trail riding maps. Now let's head to this back trail right here, and we'll see how it does through that. Now we're going to try to get after it with a little bit of speed, And I know that you wouldn't always be kind of rampaging through trails, especially in campaign, but this is a side-by-side. It's a turbo side-by-side. You're going to be wanting to rip in this thing. So let's see how she does in 3, 2, 1, launch. Just going to leave it in high and see how long I can just stay flat out. I'm not flat out anymore. I almost ran directly into that tree. That's the one downside of this really high amount of steering angle, is that it can sometimes pull you in odd directions. But so far in terms of performance, this thing is ripping. It's doing great. There you go. There you go. Oh, dude, this thing is moving out. Absolutely moving out. Wow, that's really impressive, actually. That is really, really, really impressive. One of the best runs of any vehicle I've taken through there, honestly. So let's see what happens if we try to just continue this momentum and we try to point it at the mountain. Oh, God, did we sink it? We sunk it a little bit. Oh, God. Oh, there you go. Solid winch point to pull her out of there. Easy. There you go. Oh, not quite. The wheelbase is fighting me, man. Oh, the wheelbase is really fighting me on that one. If I could just make a quick... Oh, God. Hope. Holy grip. Whoa. Yo. Dude, this thing just ripped right up the side of that mountain. That is awesome. If that gives you any idea about what this thing's trail performance is like, I mean, you're gonna be having a blast with this thing. Oh, God. Oh, don't roll off the edge. I would love to be able to just kind of pop right up the top of the mountain right there, but I don't know if it's gonna like it. Point it in the right direction. I want to hit it in high, but I don't know if it'll actually work. There you go. Nope. It's not a fan of that, but once again, you know, sketchy line, super steep. And now we're going to go ahead and head towards the bridge jump, see what it can do out there. I'm assuming it's going to do pretty well, as long as it doesn't nosedive, because that is a risk with this thing. However, if they've balanced the weight correctly, I would think, now I could be a little bit wrong on this, but I would think that since there's so much equipment towards the back of the vehicle, I would think it would lean backwards. Now, the only thing with that is how much the SnowRunner physics system decides to intervene with that. So let me go ahead and get it repaired once more. That way we're hitting the bridge jump with a fully fresh vehicle. We'll get it up into third gear. Head down there in first-person view. I really do love the first-person view. The first-person view is fun. Oh, it's getting a little... Whoa! It's getting a little slippy, but that's fine. It actually drifts really smoothly. All right, make your way up the hill. I'm going to be running this in neutral, that's for dang sure. Because, I mean, third gear is not going to be all that fast, so... Gravity, gravity, gravity. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Go on the straight line! That was the biggest failure of a bridge jump I think I've ever done. All the vehicle wanted to do was slink back and forth. That's literally it. I have never had to go back up and redo a bridge jump, but I'm doing that today because that was awful. That was horrifically bad, and I will 110% admit that. Let's go. Oh my God. Ooh, that was sketchy. That was like almost 90 degrees sideways. Ow. Come on, let's make our way up. Yeah, this is the quick way back up the bridge jump, the speedy speed boy way. Whoa! All right, repair one more time. Let's go. I'm not even messing around with that. It seems to not really care for the pavement. It's understandable. All right, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, little bit of a nosedive, but not too bad. A little bit of a nosedive, not too bad. It did survive, and it survived actually really, really well with minimal suspension damage, even while landing at a very odd angle. So, mad props to this thing. It did a great job. And if you guys enjoyed this highlight video about the CanJam, make sure to let me know your thoughts and opinions on it in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to y'all later.